Hi, welcome back. We're going to do systems of equation today. So a systems of equations is two linear equations, and you're asked to find what x equals and what y equals. There's several different ways to solve these. Right now, it's just important to understand that a systems of equations, two linear equations. It can be like these in slope-intercept. They could be two in standard form. It doesn't matter as long as it's two equations. And again, you want to find what x equals and you want to find what y equals for both of these. If you were to graph this, it would look like this, right? This is these two linear equations graphed. This one is here, and this one is this line. And you can see where they cross. And if you were to take this point as an ordered pair, which is -1, -2, this is actually the answer to your systems of equations because your x equals -1 and your y equals -2. So these two numbers would make both of these true. So graphing linear equations wherever the lines cross, that would be your answer. And it's also the easiest way to solve these. But we're going to start with solving by substitution. So in here, they're all going to be solved for y. One of them is going to be solved for y, and one of them is going to be in standard form. And when you're substituting, you're going to take this one that's solved for y, 8, and you're going to substitute this value in for the y on the other term, in the other equation. So in this case, I'm going to write this equation. So I have -7x plus 5y. But instead of y, I'm just going to put what it tells me. In this case, y equals 8. So I'm going to substitute 8 in for y. Now, once I do that, I just have a multi-step equation and I solve for x. So our first step, of course, and most of these that you're going to do for me, the first step is going to be distributing. So I'm going to distribute the 5 to this 8 because I want to get rid of this parentheses. So I'm going to have -7x, and then 5 times 8 is 40 equals 12. And then again, we're solving for x. So I'm going to move the plus 40 over, minus 40. That's going to give me -7x over here. These cancel. I have -28. All right, 12 minus 40 equals -28. So then the last step is we're dividing by -7. These will turn to 1. So I'm going to have x equals 4. So my x equals 4, and I need to find out what my y equals. On these types of problems, it's easy because it tells me that y equals 8. So that's my answer. As an ordered pair, it would look 4, 8. Because this is your x and this is your y on an ordered pair. I'll do another one just like this one that's on the easy side because this one's solved for y. It's going to get a little harder, but this one's solved for y. So I'm going to replace this y with -5. Now again, I have 8x minus 4, but instead of y, I'm putting -5 equals 12. And then first step's going to be this distributing because I want to get rid of this parentheses. So I'm going to -4 times -5. So I have 8x. -4 times -5 is positive 20 equals 12. And this is something to be on the lookout for. I see a lot of problems with this. You forget about this negative sign. So now, again, it's a two-step equation now. I just got to move this plus 20 over. I'm going to subtract 20. I have 8x equals -8. I'm going to divide by 8. And I have x equals -1. So if my x equals -1, my y equals, and again, it tells me negative 5. So as an ordered pair, negative 1, negative 5. And we'll get to where we're graphing them. But if we were to graph these two, this is where they would cross. This is our ordered pair, our answer. Yeah, so let's do a little bit harder. This one, it's still the same basic idea. You have y equals this. Y equals this, so I'm going to replace this y with all of this. You just have to remember to put it in parentheses. So I'm going to replace this y with this entire expression. So I'm going to do it here. So I'm going to write 5x minus y, but instead of y, I'm going to put this in parentheses. So negative 6x minus 2, and then equals negative 9. Right, it's the same thing, except instead of being one number to put in for y, you have to put in this whole thing in parentheses. Again, make sure you put it in parentheses and make sure you keep whatever this sign is right here. In this case, it's negative, which is important because we need to eliminate this parentheses. So we're going to distribute this negative 1 to everything in the parentheses. So we have 5x, and then negative 1 times negative 6 is positive 6x, and negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2, then equals negative 9. So on almost all of these, your first step is to distribute this to get rid of the parentheses. I can't stress that enough because you'll see it over and over. Once you substitute this in for y, you're most likely going to have to distribute something to the parentheses. After you distribute it, you're most likely going to have to combine like terms. 5x plus 6x. They have the same variable, so they're the same like term. So 5x plus 6x is 11x, and then we have plus 2 equals negative 9. Now I'm going to move the plus 2 over because I'm solving for x. 11x equals negative 11. Divide by 11. X equals negative 1. Now this one's different than the other ones because now I know what my x is. Let me use red. I know what my x is. My x is negative 1. But what's my y equal? Before, we could just see what y equals whatever the number is because it was just a number. But now, since it's negative y equals negative 6x minus 2, I'm going to have to do the same thing, except this time I'm going to put the x equals negative 1 in for this x. You're basically doing it twice. So, again, my y equals negative 6, but instead of x, I'm going to put the answer we just found for x, which is negative 1. So I'd have y equals negative 6 times negative 1 is positive 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. So my y equals 4. So as an ordered pair, that would be negative 1, 4, right? X and y. I'm going to do it again because it is a little confusing. So same idea. We're going to, y equals this. So I'm going to put this y, 6x minus 2 here. So I have 8x minus 4y, but again, instead of y, I'm going to put 6x minus 2 equals 8. Right, I just substituted this in for y. And now again, just like last time and just like most of the time, your first step is going to be to distribute whatever's in front of the parentheses to the parentheses. And we do this because we need to eliminate the parentheses. So I have 8x. Negative 4 times 6x is negative 24x. And then negative 4 times negative 2 is positive 8. And then after the distributing, you're going to combine like terms. 8x minus 24x is 16x. Negative 16x plus 8 equals 8. I'm going to minus 8. That gives me negative 16x equals 0. Divide by negative 16. X equals 0. So I know what my x equals. My x equals 0. But now I need to know what my y equals. Again, I'm going to have to take this first one, y equals 6x minus 2, and substitute this value of x in for this x. Right? We just found x, so I'm going to use the answer we found into this equation. So I have y equals 6x. Instead of x, I'm going to put 0, right? Because that's the answer we found, minus 2. So 6 times 0 is 0. Anything times 0 is 0. So that basically cancels, and I have negative 2. So this is my answer. As an ordered pair, 0, comma, negative 2. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of steps. But take it one step at a time. You should be able to get it. I think I have one more in here. One more example. So again, y equals, right? It's telling me what y equals. So I'm going to replace this in for here. So I have 4x minus 4. But instead of y, I'm going to put this in, 2x plus 2. And then equals 12. So first up after you do this is the distributing. So 4x minus 8x, because negative 4 times 2x is minus 8x. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8, equals 12. After the distributing, you are going to combine like terms. Right? 4x minus 8x, I can just subtract them in this case. 4x minus 8x is negative 4x. Then I move the negative 8 over. 4x equals 20. 12 plus 8 is 20. And then I'm going to divide by negative 4. X equals negative 5. So that gives me my x. And now I need to find my y. So I'm going to use this one again. Right? Y equals 2x plus 2. Y equals 2x. But instead of x, I'm going to use this answer. Negative 5 plus 2. Right, I used the x value that we found, and I just substituted in for this x to find out what y really equals. So y is going to equal 2 times negative 5 is negative 10 plus 2. Y equals negative 8. So as an ordered pair, that would be negative 5, negative 8. All right, that's substitution. And again, it helps if you know how to solve multi-step equations, which you should know. And then it's just setting it up. All right, let's do another one. Let's do, do I want to do another one? Let's do another one. Yeah, this will be the last one. I'll do this one a little faster. Y equals this. So I'm going to substitute this in for y. So 6x minus 8. And instead of y, I'm going to put in negative 2x plus 13 equals 6. First step, distribute to get rid of the parentheses. So 6x plus 16x minus 104 equals 6. Combine like terms. 6x plus 16x is 22x minus 104 equals 6. Move the 104 over. Plus 104 plus 104. 22x equals 110. Divide both sides by 22. X equals 5. So now I know what my x equals. I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to replace this x with the 5 that we just found. So y equals negative 2 times 5 plus 13. Y equals negative 10 plus 13. Y equals 3. So my answer here is 5, 3 as an ordered pair. All right. I know that was a little quick, but what's the fourth one we've done? So solve by graphing is probably the simplest thing to do, especially when it's already solved, when it's already in slope-intercept form. You just have to know how to graph. I'm going to review this, maybe 2 of them, but I have a whole nother video on graphing. So I don't want to make this longer video than it is explaining how to graph, but I'll do it 2 of them. Remember, slope-intercept form, you start with the y-intercept. In this case, the y-intercept's 2. So I'm going to put my first point here, and then I have a positive slope of 1 over 4, rise over run. So I'm going to go over 4 and up 1, or I can go this way over 4 and down 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, up 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1. And this, you know how much I like drawing straight lines. If that was actually connected to these, we'll pretend it is. That's that slope, right? It goes here, here. That's better. But here, I'll change the color to these points because they will come in, right? These are the points. And now, if I'm graphing this one, I start at negative 3, and I have a negative 1 slope, right? The imaginary number is 1, and it's over top of another imaginary 1. Negative 1 over 1. Negative. So I can go left and up. Left 1, up 1. Or I can go right 1, down 1. So here, 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 and you can see this is where it crosses here. That's where these 2 lines cross. So this point, wherever these 2 lines cross, that would be your answer. So my answer for this one is negative 4, 1. Right, my x value is negative 4, my y value is 1 for this systems. Like I said at the start, graphing is the easiest one because you just graph the 2 lines, and wherever they cross, wherever they intersect, that's your answer. I'm going to do 1 more. Actually, I'm going to do 3 more. Remember how to graph y equals 1. You find y equals negative 1. You find negative 1 on the y, and when it's y equals, it's going to be a horizontal line like this. In this one, you graph like you normally do. You start at plus 3, negative slope, so it's going to look like this. So over and up, or to the right and down. So 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So that's my line. And this point where they cross, this point where they cross is your answer. And this point is 4, right? 4 on the x and negative 1 on the y. This one I threw in there just because it has both y equals and an x equals. Remember, y equals, find the point on the y, and it's horizontal. X equals, find the point on the x equals 2, and it's vertical. I went over this multiple times. Hopefully we're remembering. So the answer here would be this point, which is 2, negative 3. Right, this one tells you 2, x equals 2 and y equals -3, but I wanted the example to graph these in here. All right, this one is going to be the last one. So start at -2, negative slope, so it goes this way. So I can go over 4 and up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's only that point fits. And I'm going to do this one. Start at +4. Positive slope, so over 4 and up 1, or to the left 4 and down 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4 here. Again, this is the point where they're crossing. For these questions, it's going to be easy, right? It's easy to see which point they're crossing. This is the point they're crossing, so that means this is your answer. So your x is -4 and your y is 3. If you needed help on this, again, watch the video on graphing. Yeah, that's it. A little longer than I thought it was going to be, but hopefully it helps.